Ladies and gentlemen, every one of us was born with a seed of greatness buried deep inside. That seed is not a suggestion, it is a divine assignment. But let me tell you something, dreams are fragile. They are powerful, yet they can be suffocated by something as small and as deadly as an excuse. Excuses are the quiet assassins of destiny. They whisper, "You're too late, you're too weak, you don't have enough." And if you believe them, your dream, your very purpose, dies in the prison of hesitation. But history teaches us a different story. Ordinary men and women, farmers, factory workers, single mothers, immigrants, rose from obscurity and changed the world, not because they had more resources, but because they refused to bow to excuses. Think of the young woman who wakes up before sunrise, working 2 jobs, yet still finds time to study, believing that her sacrifice will give her children a future brighter than her past. Think of the man who lost everything in failure, yet stood back up, brushed off the dust, and built again, this time stronger, wiser, unshakable. These are not superheroes, they are people like you and me, but with one difference: they chose responsibility over excuses. Excuses build walls, but perseverance breaks them. Excuses paralyze, but vision empowers. Excuses say, "Wait for tomorrow," but faith says, "Today is the only gift you've been promised. Use it." I stand before you to declare your life is not a rehearsal. This moment is your stage. You are writing the script of your future with every choice you make. And if you bury your dream under excuses, the world will never see the light that only you can bring. So I challenge you, rise above the fear, rise above the doubt, rise above the reasons why it cannot be done. Because greatness does not answer to excuses. It answers to courage, discipline, and faith. And when you feel the temptation to delay, when you hear that inner voice telling you to give up, remember this truth: your dreams do not die because of failure, your dreams die in excuses. So rise up, take responsibility, embrace your calling, and let the world see what happens when a person refuses to quit. The future is waiting, not for someone else, but for you. Excuses are quiet. They don't shout. They don't storm into your life with noise and violence. They slip in like shadows, slowly, silently, invisibly. And before you know it, they have chained your dream, locked your vision, and strangled your destiny. Many people think that failure is the greatest enemy of success. But let me tell you the truth, it is not failure that destroys more dreams, it is excuses. Failure can be redeemed. Failure can be a lesson, a stepping stone, a turning point. But excuses give you permission to stay where you are. Excuses convince you that you don't need to try again, that you don't need to get up, that you don't need to fight for your purpose. Excuses are dangerous because they are comfortable. They feel safe. They protect your pride from being hurt. They allow you to avoid risk, to avoid criticism, to avoid disappointment. But in doing so, they also prevent you from tasting victory, from discovering your strength, from walking in the fullness of your potential. Think about it. How many dreams have died not because someone lacked talent, but because they kept saying, "Tomorrow I'll start"? How many visions were buried in the cemetery of excuses like, "I don't have enough money," or "I'm too young," or "I'm too old," or "Nobody will believe in me"? Excuses are clever. They disguise themselves as reasons. They sound logical, they sound intelligent, they sound believable. But inside every excuse is a lie, a chain, a thief. Excuses rob you of time, they rob you of courage. They rob you of the opportunity to see what could have been if you had just tried. Imagine a farmer standing in a field, holding seeds in his hand. If he says, "The weather is too unpredictable, the soil is too hard, the birds might eat my seed, the harvest might fail," and so he never plants, what happens? Nothing. No growth, no fruit, no harvest. The seed in his hand dies, not because it had no potential, but because excuses kept it from touching the ground. That is what happens to our lives. Each of us carries seeds of greatness, seeds of ideas, seeds of inventions, seeds of businesses, seeds of books, songs, movements, leadership. But those seeds will never grow if they remain locked in our hands. And the only thing that keeps them locked there is excuses. Excuses will tell you, "Wait until you're ready," but you're never truly ready. Excuses will tell you, "Wait until it's perfect," but nothing ever begins perfectly. Excuses will tell you, "Someone else is already doing it," but someone else doing it doesn't cancel your assignment. Excuses will tell you, "You might fail," but failure is not the end. It is feedback, it is training, it is proof that you dared to move when others stayed still. Excuses are assassins of destiny because they work quietly. You don't feel the loss immediately. You don't hear the funeral of your dream right away. But year after year, as time slips away, you wake up one day and realize that the things you once burned for, the things you once believed in, the things you once talked about with passion, never came to life. And why? Because of excuses. History remembers the risk takers, the ones who silenced their excuses. Every person who has left a mark on this earth had 100 reasons why they shouldn't succeed, but they refused to let those reasons become excuses. They didn't wait for perfect timing. They didn't wait for full approval. They didn't wait for ideal conditions. They moved anyway. And because they moved, the world moved with them. The truth is, excuses feel small in the moment, but they grow large in regret. They protect you today, but they imprison you tomorrow. They comfort you now, but they will accuse you later. And when the years have passed, excuses will be the witnesses that testify against you, saying, he could have, but he didn't, she should have, but she wouldn't. They had the chance, but they let me kill it. That is why you must recognize excuses for what they are, silent killers of destiny. They are not harmless, they are not minor, they are fatal. Because every time you make one, you bury a little piece of your dream. And with enough excuses, the dream is gone forever. When we think of greatness, we often imagine people born with special gifts, born into wealth, privilege, or influence. We think of kings, presidents, scientists, inventors, leaders, as if destiny only handpicks a few. But let me tell you a secret. Greatness is not reserved for the chosen few. Greatness is hidden inside the ordinary, and the extraordinary emerges not because someone is born different, but because they choose to live differently. Look around at history. The names we celebrate, the figures we admire, the legends who changed the world, they were not gods, they were not angels, they were human. Flesh and blood, doubts and fears, pain and weakness. The difference is, they refused to let their ordinariness limit their destiny. Think of Abraham Lincoln. He was born into poverty, raised in a log cabin, no formal education, yet he taught himself to read by candlelight. He failed in business, lost multiple elections, battled depression, but he refused to let excuses bury his dream. From that ordinariness rose one of the greatest presidents the world has ever known. Think of Mother Teresa, a simple woman barely 5 feet tall, no riches, no political office, no army behind her. Yet with compassion as her weapon, she walked in the slums of Calcutta and touched the lives of millions. An ordinary nun who chose extraordinary love. Think of Nelson Mandela, locked in a prison cell for 27 years, a man stripped of freedom, cut off from the world. Many would have grown bitter, many would have surrendered to despair. But Mandela came out of that prison not with revenge, but with forgiveness. Not with excuses, but with vision. He transformed his suffering into strength and his ordinariness into leadership that healed a nation. Do you see the pattern? Extraordinary is not about being born different. Extraordinary is about refusing to stay ordinary. It is about taking what little you have and multiplying it through faith, perseverance, and vision. The ordinary person says, I can't because I don't have enough. The extraordinary person says, I will start with what I have and I will grow it. The ordinary person waits for opportunity. The extraordinary person creates it. The ordinary person is paralyzed by fear. The extraordinary person feels fear but walks forward anyway. Every extraordinary achievement was once an ordinary step. Every skyscraper was once a drawing on paper. Every invention was once a crazy idea. Every movement was once a whisper in the heart of someone who believed. Ordinary people become extraordinary when they refuse to settle, when they refuse to bow to excuses, when they decide that their life must count for something beyond survival. Let me bring it closer. Think of the single mother working 2 jobs, waking up before sunrise, tucking her children into bed after midnight, holding back her own tears while she builds a better tomorrow for them. That is extraordinary. Think of the young student who is the first in their family to enter university, who carries not only their books, but also the dreams of generations before them. That is extraordinary. Think of the man who fails in business, loses everything, but instead of giving up, he starts again, wiser, stronger, unshakable. That is extraordinary. Ordinary does not mean insignificant. Ordinary means human. And when human beings decide to rise, when they choose responsibility over excuses, when they refuse to be defined by where they started, then ordinary becomes extraordinary. The extraordinary is not about perfection. It is about perseverance. It is not about having everything. It is about making something out of nothing. It is not about being fearless. It is about moving forward despite the fear. So many of us underestimate what is inside of us. We look at others and think they are different, they are lucky, they are special. But the truth is, they are just like you. The difference is not in their birth, it is in their choice. They chose to dig deeper. They chose to rise higher. They chose to believe that their life could make a difference. No matter how small the beginning, ordinary people become extraordinary when they take responsibility for their dream, when they stop blaming circumstances, when they stop waiting for the perfect time, when they realize that the world does not remember excuses, but it remembers action. The farmer who plants in hard soil is remembered for his harvest. The builder who lays one brick at a time is remembered for the city he built. The mother who sacrifices for her children is remembered in their success. This is the power of transformation. This is the truth hidden in every human life. You don't need to be born extraordinary to live extraordinary. You just need to take the little you have, the small gift, the limited resource, the humble beginning, and refuse to let excuses kill it. Life is filled with walls, walls of poverty, walls of fear, walls of rejection, walls of doubt, walls of obstacles that stand between where you are and where you dream to be. Some of these walls were built by the world around you. Others were built by your own mind. And when most people face a wall, they stop. They see the height, they see the thickness, they see the impossibility, and they turn back. But those who persevere, those who refuse to give up, those who keep moving step by step, brick by brick, are the ones who discover that no wall can hold back a determined spirit. Perseverance is not glamorous. It does not always look like victory. Sometimes it looks like tears in the middle of the night. Sometimes it looks like failure after failure. Sometimes it looks like being misunderstood, being mocked, being told, "You will never make it." But perseverance is the stubborn refusal to quit, the decision to keep walking even when your legs are heavy, the courage to keep believing even when the evidence says it's over. Look at history, and you will see the power of perseverance. Thomas Edison is remembered as the man who gave the world the light bulb. But what most people forget is that he failed over 1,000 times before he succeeded. 1,000 failures. Yet each one was not an end, but a step closer. When asked how he endured so many setbacks, Edison said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is perseverance. Consider the Great Wall of China. It stretches for thousands of miles across mountains, deserts, and valleys. To build such a wall, generations of workers laid brick after brick, stone after stone, year after year. It was not built overnight. It was built through perseverance, and that same principle applies to your life. Greatness is not built in one moment. It is built in persistence, in patience, in the refusal to stop until the wall before you falls. Every vision will face resistance. Every dream will encounter obstacles. That is the law of life. The difference between those who succeed and those who surrender is not that one faced fewer walls. It is that one refused to stop climbing, digging, breaking, and believing. Perseverance is what carried Nelson Mandela through 27 years of prison. It was not strength alone. It was not resources alone. It was perseverance. He endured the chains because he knew that one day the wall of apartheid would collapse. Perseverance is what pushed Helen Keller, blind and deaf, to rise above her limitations, to learn to speak, to write, to inspire millions. She faced walls that most of us cannot even imagine, yet she persevered. When you persevere, walls lose their power. They may slow you down, they may test your resolve, they may bruise your spirit, but they cannot stop you. A wall only wins against those who stop walking. But perseverance finds a way, if not over, then around, if not around, then through. The truth is, perseverance is often uncomfortable. It demands sacrifice, it demands discipline, it demands saying no to distractions, saying no to excuses, saying no to the temptation of easy escape. But every step you take in perseverance strengthens you, prepares you, sharpens you. The wall is not only there to test your dream, it is there to shape your character. Think of a seed planted in the ground. It faces the heavy weight of soil pressing down, the darkness, the struggle to push upward. Yet through perseverance, it breaks through the soil, it reaches for the light, and it becomes a tree. That is the story of every dream. Without perseverance, the seed rots underground. With perseverance, it pushes past the wall of dirt and grows into something greater than anyone imagined. Many give up too soon. They stop just one step before the wall would have cracked. They walk away just one try before the door would have opened. They quit just one day before the breakthrough would have arrived. They didn't fail because the dream was impossible. They failed because they surrendered their perseverance. The walls in your life are not permanent. They are not invincible. They are only waiting to be tested by your persistence. And every time you choose to keep moving, every time you decide to keep believing, every time you push one step further, the wall grows weaker and your resolve grows stronger. Perseverance is the weapon that breaks the hardest stone, that shatters the tallest barrier, that tears down the strongest fortress. The world may try to block you, life may try to stop you, fear may try to chain you, but perseverance says, "I will not quit until the wall is gone." Life is not a practice run. It is not a rehearsal. You do not get a second version, another draft, or a chance to go back and edit the script once the curtain falls. This is it. The stage is now. The time is now. The opportunity is now. And every single day that passes is one page gone, one scene finished, one act behind you. Too many people live as if tomorrow is guaranteed. They live as if they have endless time to forgive, to change, to build, to dream. But tomorrow is a promise no one has received. The only gift you hold is today. The only stage you stand on is this moment. And the tragedy is that while life is moving forward, many are still standing still, trapped in excuses, trapped in fear, trapped in hesitation, rehearsing in their minds but never performing in reality. Think of an actor preparing for a play. In rehearsal, mistakes are allowed. In rehearsal, time can be wasted. In rehearsal, there is always another chance to fix the lines, to change the performance. But when the curtain rises, when the lights are on, there is no rehearsal. Every word counts, every move matters, every moment is recorded. That is your life. The curtain is already up, the lights are already shining, and the audience of destiny is already watching. You cannot live this life as if it were a rehearsal for something greater to come. This is the greatest. This is the moment. Life is not waiting for you to be ready. It is moving whether you act or not. And every day that you postpone your purpose, every day that you delay your dream, every day that you wait for the perfect time is a day that is gone forever, a scene that can never be replayed. There are people who spend years saying, one day I'll write that book, one day I'll start that business, one day I'll change my life. And before they know it, one day has become someday, and someday has become never. They have mistaken life for rehearsal, thinking they can always begin later, but later never came. Life is not about waiting, it is about doing. It is not about preparing endlessly. It is about stepping onto the stage even if your voice shakes, even if your knees tremble. Because the truth is, you will never feel completely ready. The conditions will never be perfectly aligned. The stage will never be free of risk. But that is why you must act now, because life is already happening. Consider the people who made history. They did not wait for rehearsal. Martin Luther King Jr. did not wait for the perfect audience to deliver his dream. He spoke it into existence in the midst of chaos. Rosa Parks did not wait for a planned moment to take her stand. She acted when life demanded courage. The Wright brothers did not wait until they had every resource, every calculation perfect. They took the risk, they flew, they failed, and they flew again. That is life. It is lived in the moment, not in rehearsal. There is a sobering truth: the cemetery is the wealthiest place on earth. It holds books never written, songs never sung, businesses never started, visions never pursued. Why? Because people thought they had time. They thought life was a rehearsal. They believed they could delay. They believed they could wait. And in that waiting, their dreams died with them. Every breath you take is a reminder you are alive today, not yesterday, not tomorrow. And the question is, what are you doing with this moment? What are you doing with this opportunity? Are you writing, building, forgiving, serving, creating, loving? Or are you rehearsing, waiting, hesitating, planning endlessly, but never performing? The world is not waiting for a rehearsal. The world is waiting for your action. Your family is waiting. Your community is waiting. Your generation is waiting. Someone's hope may depend on your courage. Someone's future may be tied to your vision. Someone's breakthrough may be locked inside your obedience to step forward now. Life is not a rehearsal. It is a live performance, and every decision you make is shaping the legacy you will leave behind. Dreams do not die because you failed. Failure does not have the power to bury a dream. Failure can knock you down, but it cannot lock you down. It can delay you, but it cannot destroy you. Failure is loud, it is painful, it is humiliating, but it is also temporary. You can rise after failure. You can rebuild after failure. You can learn from failure. But excuses are different. Excuses are silent killers. They sneak in quietly. They justify your inaction. They make you feel comfortable in your limitations. And before you know it, they have strangled your dream without a fight. Failure in its rawest form is a teacher. It teaches resilience. It teaches humility. It teaches patience. Every person who has ever accomplished something significant has a history of failure. They stumbled, they fell, they were rejected, they were laughed at, but they kept moving. What separated them from the crowd was not the absence of failure, but the absence of excuses. Excuses are more dangerous than failure because they feel safe. They sound reasonable. They tell you that you are not quitting, you are simply waiting. They whisper, you don't have enough resources, you don't have enough time, you don't have enough support. And so you stop trying, and when you stop trying, the dream inside you suffocates. It does not die with a bang, It dies with a whisper, slowly fading while you comfort yourself with reasons. Think about it. The great entrepreneurs of history did not avoid failure, they embraced it. Henry Ford went bankrupt 5 times before he built the Ford Motor Company. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job for lacking creativity before he created the empire that carries his name. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. They failed, but they did not excuse themselves. They could have said, I don't have what it takes. I don't have the money. I don't have the connections. But they refused. They failed, they learned, and they tried again. Now imagine the countless others whose names you will never hear, people with brilliant ideas, powerful visions, and world-changing potential who never stepped forward. Not because they failed, but because they excused themselves from even trying. Excuses erased their names from history before failure ever had the chance to teach them. Failure hurts, but it sharpens. Excuses comfort, but they poison. Failure is an event. Excuses are a lifestyle, and a lifestyle of excuses guarantees the slow death of every dream you carry. Excuses will tell you the timing isn't right, but when has timing ever been perfect? Excuses will tell you, I'll do it when I have more money, but money follows movement, not waiting. Excuses will tell you, I'm not qualified, but qualification comes through practice, not through hesitation. Excuses will tell you, what if I fail? But failure is not final. Failure is fertilizer. It grows you if you let it. Your dream doesn't need perfection. Your dream doesn't even need certainty. Your dream needs courage. It needs discipline. It needs the willingness to take one step even when you cannot see the entire road. Excuses rob you of that courage. They convince you that standing still is safer than moving forward. But the truth is, standing still is the most dangerous choice of all. Because when you stop moving, your dream stops breathing. There are people who will spend their entire lives blaming failure, when the truth is, they never even gave failure a chance. They never wrote the book, never launched the idea, never took the risk. They never stumbled because they never walked. And in the silence of their hesitation, their dreams quietly withered away. You see, failure is a wound, but it heals. Excuses are a disease and they spread. They start small. I'm too tired today, I'll do it tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes a week, a month, a year. And before long, the dream that once kept you awake at night no longer burns. It is buried under layers of excuses that sounded harmless in the moment, but deadly in the long run. History will always honor the man or woman who failed and got up again. History will always respect the fighter who kept swinging even when the odds were against them. But history does not remember excuses. Excuses leave no monuments, no legacies, no stories worth telling. Excuses bury dreams in silence, while failure refines them through fire. Your dream does not die because you fell once or twice or 1,000 times. It does not die because others doubted you. It did not die because resources were limited. It did not die because the journey was hard. It dies when you allow excuses to become stronger than your determination. It dies when you believe the lies of comfort instead of the truth of possibility. It dies when you choose to stay down instead of rising again. My friends, life has given each of us a gift, an assignment, a dream, a vision. It may not look grand in the beginning. It may look small, ordinary, hidden, and fragile. But inside it is the power to change not only your life, but the lives of many others. And the only thing that can truly kill that dream is not failure, not rejection, not obstacles. It is excuses. We have seen that excuses are silent killers of destiny. They sound harmless, but they bury the seeds of greatness before they ever touch the soil of possibility. We have seen that ordinary people, men and women just like you, become extraordinary not by resources, not by privilege, but by choosing responsibility, perseverance, and faith. We have seen that perseverance has the power to break every wall that life builds in front of you, if only you refuse to stop walking. We have been reminded that life is not a rehearsal. There is no second draft, no second chance to live today. The curtain is up, the stage is set, and this is your performance. And finally, we have declared a truth that must echo in your soul. Your dreams do not die because of failure. Your dreams die in excuses. So the question is no longer whether you are capable. The question is no longer whether you have enough. The question is, will you dare to stop excusing yourself? Will you dare to rise beyond ordinary living, to persevere against the walls, to seize this moment as if it were your last, and to protect your dream from the poison of excuses? Because your life is more than survival. Your existence is more than routine. You were born to make a mark, to leave a legacy, to be a light in the darkness of your generation. And that will not happen by accident. It will happen because you made a decision to take responsibility, to silence excuses, and to walk in the power of your destiny. The world is waiting for your voice. The world is waiting for your vision. The world is waiting for your courage. Don't let excuses kill what failure could never destroy.